Hello again and welcome back to Wingot Plays Oxygen Not Included, Dupeflix and Chill on the Chaos Crew Seed. This episode, the video looks like it's definitely recording correctly, so aspect ratio is corrected and as is the portion of the screen that it's trying to record. So we should have a smooth sailing experience. That said, we need to get steel production online, we need to get glass production online. That is our two priorities at the moment, and once we've got those, we'll then be able to build our great monument. The steel production will also feed into our rockets and allow us to go to space, and will also allow us to build a lot more things that are a lot more temperature resistant to hot temperatures. That said, we will of course need our first metal refinery here, and temperature in here is by definition over 100 degrees. The metal refinery overheats at 75 and the granite only increases it by 15. The various options are available, but the main one is ceramic, which ceramic increases the overheat temperature by 200 degrees, bringing it up to 275 degrees. And at 275 degrees, it should then be able to handle any temperature that this gets to. If this gets over 275 degrees, we've got problems, because even this room down here doesn't get over 275 degrees, and it's actively trying to get as hot as possible and reach the limits of these steam turbines. If you get beyond 275 degrees, you have some real problems. The rest of the water actually flashed reasonably quickly once we had the whole lot of steam in here. There wasn't much in the way of cycles, and I've been wondering about this blueprint. Well, I've only opened two this week, and both of those were on the channel. I think the third one, because the third one has never popped up. I wonder if the first one, the one that got stuck in the loading screen, I wonder if that was the blueprint that is now not showing up this week. Which is annoying. It means we've lost one, but also they're arguably only cosmetics. Anyway, we've got our metal refinery here. We want this metal refinery to turn iron into steel, but in order to do that, it's going to need a coolant. Awaiting coolant, no liquid output, no power wire, no liquid intake. So, power, easy, we can fix that. And in fact, I think I'm going to get rid of these ladders. How tall is this, actually? Yeah, okay. So, I would need to get rid of those couple in order to build another metal refinery here. In fact, let's go for this ladder here. And we'll build upwards. Good. Now, this metal refinery, it now has a power wire, it needs coolant. It needs liquid input, liquid output. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build a radiator. And I think easiest way to build a radiator is just going to be going straight up, because we're going to put another couple of metal refineries either side of it, and they're each going to also need their own radiators. The other option would be to build it longitudinally and then feed into each of them off of the because if we do that, so let's see, basically we would create a box like that, and then they would feed into and break off of that box. Alternatively, we could even, in fact, yeah, we'll start with doing that, which then gives us the possibility in future of expanding it to have a second row. But if we do that, then we can input and output off of that radiant line, and each of our metal refineries will be able to use the same cooling or heat distribution loop is probably more accurate. Now I think we're going to need some ladders again in order to actually build this out. And then the last step is we're going to actually need a liquid. Bringing another liquid in, I'm already using up the only tiles that we've deleted, and if we're going to bring a liquid in that also needs to be able to go back out, then we would need to create another 2 wide channel. If we just want to use the liquid though to prime this loop, then, well, we could bring in a single channel, but we could also bring it in on site. What we potentially could do, let's try mopping up this water, because if we can get that water out of the way, then what I think we potentially can do is we can actually is that water going to be a problem? Where is that water coming from? It's getting to 97 degrees here. Okay. It looks like we don't have enough heat currently to keep this as pure steam. Although I think it's only the corners that are a problem. Because what I'm thinking is if we... Let's go here. If we create a pocket here that we could then put some petroleum into, we could grab a liquid pump, pump out that petroleum, and prime the line. Yeah, that looks like... Oh, actually, the cold temperatures of these tiles is actually turning it into... Huh. If it gets warm enough, then it stops being an issue. Already 97 degrees there. Oh, I didn't mean to make that out of steel, but it is ideal for it to be made out of steel, so perfect. Okay, and then we want to run power up to here, but we also want to make sure we don't activate it while there's water sitting there. And then we've got a output line there. And lastly, we are going to need to be able to drop some, in fact, let's do this. Cancel, hang on. Okay, instead of you, I think we want a heavy watt joint plate right there, so that we'll be able to close it up. $99, $97, $97, cool. We just need the heat to improve a little bit more so that this can turn back into steam effectively. 101 degrees, 99 degrees. The other option is if I mop it up, but if I mop it up, is it going to... Is any more water going to condensate? Is the question. It looks like no. If I put another tile there... Oh, they will be able to reach in because that's only too high. So yeah, if we close this up and then mop up the water that gets produced. Meanwhile, let's throw a bottle emptier in here as well. Bottle emptier overheats at 15 degrees. Does it? Does it actually? Oh no, that's just the bonus overheat temperature. Yeah, cool. So we got a chunk of water there. If we mop that up, and they're obviously taking that water to somewhere. Up here maybe? That would be a lot of heat to pull up into our base, but also at the same time, the base can use the heat. It's not an issue. There we go, that was promising. And I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Cool, once everything is basically 98 plus degrees, there you go, over 100 degrees. Perfect. Now, mop that up. And once that's mopped, we can then throw some petroleum in there in order to prime the system. How cold is the petroleum is the question. Over 100 degrees. $92, 109. Okay, so this petroleum here, we've got almost a ton there. If we deconstruct this, crude oil, 33 kilos. Interesting that there's not much petroleum spread around. It's pretty much all crude oil. Arguably, I could actually use crude oil instead of petroleum. That's 1 kilo. Let's just check. That is almost a ton of petroleum, fine. And in fact, that ton of water is then going to get pulled up to the base as well, I think. Oh, never mind. That ton of water decided to dump all its steam and heat. And now we're going to have a lot of stray water lying around. That's inconvenient. Okay, let's go here. I want some petroleum. And I want someone to bring some petroleum and ideally not cool the place down. Because if they do cool the place down, we're going to wind up with more water. Simple automation grid. Interestingly, all of this steam here should be generating a whole lot of heat in this area, which will then get sucked back out by this sauna that we've built. Yeah, there's a layer of water on the top there. Which I wonder if and there's no real way to vacuum this out and have it as a closed system without putting it outside and again having the issue of pipes being able to get in. But if we're pulling in hot petroleum, then the water should turn to steam like that. And once we've got pure petroleum there, petroleum at 100 degrees. Yeah, good. So that's maintaining the steam now. Because I think they're grabbing this petroleum here. Yeah, we're down to 400 kilos. Very nice. And our pump down here is being a champion and trying to correct and fix it. But it looks like we're only getting to 50 degrees up here at the exit. So I think we're doing all right with the fact that we've dumped all that steam, and as I say, it should mostly turn back into water. Now, what are we doing here? Petroleum, we've got... If we connect this to the power, how much petroleum are we going to be able to pull? Oh, that's right, it's... We need to basically somehow tell this system, like while we're priming it at least, we need to be able to tell the system to keep flowing. And I think if we do it this way, it should work. Okay, how's this one going? This one, output pipe is full. Is it? Oh, hang on. These are the wrong way around. Okay, if we get rid of both of these liquid bridges. And then this is going to be an input, this is going to be an output. I think that might break the deconstruct you. And then I think if we put it's almost like we want this output on a different line, because at the moment there's no way to continue the run while it's also being fed. Unless, I think we need to move it all up a line. Because if we move this whole thing up one more line, then we would be able to input and output off of channels that are adjacent to it as opposed to directly onto the line. Okay, now we've at least got flowing coolant. And then the last step is we, I think, need to put a bridge to force it to continue running. Because if I think that will then mean that the coolant wants to always direct itself to this white input. Oh, there's no more petroleum to bring in. Okay, let's deconstruct this. Although, is that going the right way around? Because input we want here, and then output there. I think this is the wrong way around. I think we want to instead good. So that's at least keeping it running. So if we have a loop with a bridge, then that at least can keep it running. Oh, what? When did I tell them to get rid of the metal refinery? That's it. Metal refinery, ceramic, right there. Go. Buildings only. Liquid pipes only. I don't know why they got rid of the metal refinery there. Come on, someone hurry up and build it. Good. And it looks like someone's brought some more petroleum in, so now it's just a matter of yeah, we need to basically what we need is we need to bring it in over there. And that will allow us to bring it in, and then we'll have 2 greens, 1 white, and we've then only got green going to white. We don't have a mixed line. Good. I think that will allow us to completely prime the line. It will allow us to, in future, bring in some more petroleum. Well, we might actually put all 3 metal refineries down now. Speaking of, the 3rd metal refinery is going to go right there. So I think we need to put a mesh tile here and remove this one to make that space for it. And there we go. So then we can put another metal refinery there and another one here. That one doesn't want to place because there's this liquid bridge here. That's fine, we'll do just 2 for now. Okay, and then that can connect to there. Perfect, so then that's going to feed in all of the petroleum that's sitting there. This now has 200 kilos of petroleum sitting in it. And if we give it a job to, let's say we want 20 steel, then that is going to dump a whole lot of heat into it. And then half of the circulating petroleum will go down at any given time. As it is, it's still not enough. We need more petroleum. It looks like we need 400 kilos per run, and it can have 3 runs. So really what we need is we need another kilo of petroleum there. Is there any more that we can safely pull out? So this is all crude oil. We might have to actually refine some more petroleum, but there we go. There's another another ton of petroleum there, which I think he's taking up at the moment to feed into our cooling loop. And cooling loop's currently actually looking pretty full. Insulated. Those should be radiant the whole way along. Okay. Now, here and here can both be insulated. Here and here can be insulated, and then we want a liquid bridge out and in. In fact, cancel those 2. That is meant to be radiant. Good. Anyway, this one here, it's already done 4 of the jobs. So we have a little bit of steel building up, and the heat is just being dumped in here. 137, 140, 250. What can petroleum get to? I think it can get to like 450 before it. 540. So we should be doing fine, dumping all of that heat into here. Petroleum at 130, at 140. Good. Okay, and then the other thing we can do is we can put a storage bin. And how far does this reach? So an auto sweeper, if we put an auto sweeper there, definitely can't be made out of lead though. If we put a steel auto sweeper right there, then, so steel's going to need iron, refined carbon and lime. If we put 3 storage bins for steel, refined carbon and lime, sorry, for iron, refined carbon and lime, then we will be able to automate the filling of these, and then it's just the duplicate labor coming in to actually run them and produce the steel itself will be the only... Let's do this. Let's run it like that. But then getting over there to build it is going to be a problem. So deconstruct you, and we can put a ladder here. And then what we can do is we can go here, go refined metal, go iron, and then the auto sweep will be able to grab the iron and keep the metal refineries full, while with a nearby store pile here, and it's a lot more efficient to fill these up than there's just the 70 kilos that's required here. And then we want refined carbon as well, which let's put that one in here, which is a consumable. Yeah, refined carbon. And I think that's done, so we can deconstruct you. And then it'll just be a matter of bringing in line. Perfect. So then we have steel. I was going to say automated, but it's not automated because it requires duplicate labor. But we at least have steel being produced. And no real limitations on it, other than maybe a bit of line production. We've got plenty of refined carbon. We also want to get some iron production up and running as well. Arguably, what we could do is we could tell this to convert iron ore into iron. How are we going for the various ores? Because it might actually be easiest just to convert all of our iron ore. We've still got 100 tons of copper, 60 tons of gold. Yeah, it might be useful to just convert all or maybe most of our iron ore into iron. The industrial, where is lime? I think lime might be in organic. No, I always forget where lime is, like every single time. Manufactured liquefiable, industrial ingredient, filtration medium. It's definitely not a critter egg. Consumable ore. Okay, sure. Perfect. Now, the last step is, if we do want to get some iron up and running, then we also need to be able to run this metal refinery. And we don't have quite enough petroleum, I think, for that. We do, because we can grab petroleum from here. There's only trace amounts, though. There's 18 kilos in total that this can actually see, and 44 kilos of petroleum there, 25 kilos of petroleum there. So I think we're going to need to produce some more petroleum before we can finish this, because the coolant is not quite sorted. This one is going to get half of all of the coolant, and this one is going to get a quarter of all of the coolant. It's currently got most of it, but that's only... Oh, actually, no, it's looping back to itself. That... Okay. However, is it dumping enough heat? It's probably not dumping enough heat when it loops back to itself. That's interesting. It's something I think I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Because the other option would be I can build it so that basically we have overlapping bridges here. The input, yeah, the input would sort of branch off here, and then anything that doesn't go to that input jumps the output pipe so that it can't cycle. That is meant to be, that is meant to be a radiant. Okay. Oh, they can get to it. Good. Because then we can disconnect that, and then we want another bridge, but this bridge is going to be here and here. Good. And I think that should get our cooling sorted. As soon as someone comes in and actually builds the bridges. Yep, good. Perfect. And then we can't really see what's happening with the bridges, but they are working. Okay, so then here we're running low on petroleum, yeah, awaiting coolant because it's all stuck in here at the moment, and let's tell this one to produce a whole chunk of iron. Good, so we've got our refining up and running now, and which will in time produce us a whole lot of steel. We've actually already got 1380, and if we take a look, I think it's 2500 that we need for the base. Oh, it's 7.5 ton. So we're going to need to spend quite a while producing a whole lot of petroleum, but there you go. It's a whole lot of iron and steel. We ideally are going to need some more petroleum as well, and so we might look at getting, where's the oil refinery? Crude oil into petroleum and natural gas. So that overheats at 75. If we make it out of, let's make it out of steel. We've got the steel available, let's use it in the oil biome at the moment. Petroleum can only be produced by, yep. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pipe some of this crude oil out of here. Yeah, okay, I think the safest option is just going to be extend a line along here as a bypass. In fact, I think I'll do that the whole way along. We'll run a bypass line so that we can bypass individual tanks, and then that means we're then going to have access to pull out of, for example, these 5 tons of crude oil. That this whole bottom row is crude oil, and that will then allow us to feed that crude oil into our petroleum generator without a risk of something else getting into it. Yes, it's going to be manual and fiddly for the time being, but it will at least work, and it will allow us to get things properly up and running and sort out the coolant issues that we're having up here. That said, we are producing iron, we're producing steel, so I think I'm pretty happy with our progress so far this episode. We are at the end of the episode though, so steel production is now online. We just need to improve our petroleum. We also need to produce a whole lot of steel, and we of course need to produce glass. Snazzier violet suit, I think I'll take it. This is probably dormant, not yet, it's just idle. Yeah, it's idle. We've used up all of our petroleum, so we need to get some more petroleum online, which we've already got the generator sitting here. We just need the refinery. We just need to bring in hang on, that's wrong. You can dump the output over into here. And we are going to need to build another couple of liquid bridges in order to get the crude oil across, which I think they're going to do pretty quickly. I don't want to disconnect the cooling loop yet until they build the bridges, because, well, it's a cooling loop. It's a bit crucial. Speaking of, the cooling loop is completely full there. 7 degrees. Interesting, it's going in 7 degrees, it's coming out 23, so there is still a lot of heat being 8 degrees. Yeah, it's over here that it's primarily changing temperature, which is probably because of all that steam that we released before, which dumped a whole lot of heat into here, but which pretty much has all been removed. There's a couple of little bits of steam still lying around, but it's pretty much all been converted back down into water. And let's see, good. So if those are now connected, then we can then run that across. And that's going to be our crude oil line, but we don't want to actually connect it until we have sorted out in fact, let's not even build that particular piece of pipe until we have the bypass properly built, so that we don't go putting some water or petroleum or something into the input line. But that's something we're going to have to continue fiddling with next episode. Thank you for watching. Stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one.